Okay, we're in the middle of a very interesting sugya, especially during the Aseret Simei Tshuva, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines from the bottom on Lamed Tes Amid Beis. Rami Rav Tuvi Bar Rav Kisna L'Rava. Rav Tuvi Bar Rav asked a stira to Rav Kisna to Rava. Hanan, Kaloisa mitzvah achas mativin loy. Anyone who does a mitzvah, we said mativin loy, to pshatim this world. And ein loy in loy asaloi. Mashma, if you don't do it, they're not mativin. In other words, it's mashma, you need an action to go ahead and be mativin. That the shahataba should take place based upon an action. Urimini, yoshev loy ava aveira. If someone sits and doesn't do an aveira, nois l'schar koisa mitzvah. He gets schar like he did the mitzvah. So you see, you don't have to do an action. Even refraining from not doing an aveira is also considered an action, even without doing. In other words, you don't need kum v'aseh, shev al taiseh, he'll do the job. So Amalei, so Rabbi told Rav Tuvi Bar Rav Kisna, Hasam kigoin shebo devar aveira liyadoi v'nitzli menu. There, it's the fact that the aveira came to his hands. It's not just pshat, he's sitting and not being mechal Shabbos. He's sitting when there's a taivin mechal Shabbos. In other words, he's not sitting and not being thinking about snus. There's ma'isa, as we're going to see, where snus came to his hands and refrained. So when the action comes to your hands and refrain, that is considered as if you do it. Machshava alone is not. It's the action refraining of the action. Kihod Rav Chanina bar Papi, Tavati Ahimatrinisa. This the matron is usually for Roman matron, and she went ahead and she was tavei him for Devar Aveira. Amra Milsa, he said, Umali Nafshe Shichna V'Kiva. He said something. He said some type of incantation. I don't know if he used the name or it was Kishuf, and his body became filled with pus and boils to make himself very unattractive. That this matronisa would leave him alone. Of the Milsa, and she put a spell to counteract his spell. And therefore he was ve'itzi and he got better. So what did he do? Orek Tosha, he went and he hid, got up and he hid Bahu Beibani in this bathhouse. That even during the day and even two people you went in, you'd get damage. We saw the Gemara earlier with Rachel Yaakov. Abaye didn't want people to invite him, so he'd go into the base medrash there to get rid of the 7-headed snake that was there. Remember? Also, the Gemara there said even two people, and even during the day, which is not normal for a mazik to go ahead, a shade to be active, this shade in this bathhouse, even two people, even during the day. So it's a very, very difficult, dangerous shade. And he hid it nonetheless. So, Amrule Rabbanan Man Nisrat, how did you go ahead? What happened? How did you escape this? Samalahu, he said, Rav Chanina Bar Papi said, Shnei noisei Kesar Shamruni Kolalayla. Two Roman Kesar leaders of the soldiers of the Kesar. They went ahead and they went ahead and they guarded me the whole night. We have on the side it says don't say noisei Kesar but Kushoi Kesar, the Kushim of the Kesar. That it said that Shlomo had 2 Kushim. They would guard him. That would be very, very effective. Other people say it's 2 malachim. A person has malachim that accompany them all the time. So the malachim that went ahead and protected them. So therefore, that protected Rav Chanina. So Amalei Shem Dvar Ever Boliyotcha V'Nitzul Himenu. Maybe a Dvar Avera came and you were safe from it. In other words, they didn't know why Rav Chanina went into this Beibani, into this bathhouse. They just know he went in there, and it was this was a place that was cordoned off, was verboten to go in there. And they don't know the reason he went in there. And this nest happened to him that he came out unharmed. So they asked him, maybe perhaps an avera of a dvar erva of znus came to your hand. Anyone that a dvar erva comes to his hands and he's safe from it, a nest is done for him. As it says, Gibari koyach oise devari l'shmaya b'kol devaroi. Gibari koyach usually is speaking to what the people who do shmita, they watch over here. Gibari koyach, they will miskaber over a chance to do an avera of znus to listen to the Bar Hashem, right? Kigoyin Rav Tzadik Chavera, Rav Tzadik Tavate Ahi Matronisa. He had a similar incident where Matronisa was tavei him for his nus. Amalai told her Cholishli Liboy Le Metzina. I'm sick. I'm not able to. It can meet the meichel. Do you have something to eat? To give me strength. So Amalei, I do have something. It's a davatame. It's not kosher. Amallah, my nafkamina, David ha. What's the difference if I do snus or I do this? So he said, okay, he'll eat it. So Hashagas Tinura, as she was lighting the oven, Kamon Chale, Rav Tzaddik went into the oven. If he was going to put the meat inside the oven, Salik v'yasa v'gavei. As Kamon Chale, she was putting the meat in the oven, Salik, he got up v'yasa v'gavei, he went inside the oven. So Amalei, my high. Amalei, the oven high, nafal b'hai. So anyone who does nus, nafal b'hai is going to end up in the heat anyway. Right? Hamish Erev Yom Kippur. Amalei, kuli high. If I would have known so much, I wouldn't have gone ahead and mitzar you. It was so much. So you see this whole Indian of people who are safe from snus. Mama Maisa, Rav Kahana have become Mazim di Kule. He would be selling baskets. Now the baskets he was selling to women. So he was involved with women a lot. Tavasi Hamachanisa, again, a woman, a Machanisa, usually means a Roman maiden. She went ahead and was tevei him for snus, Amalah, Ezel Akshit Nafshay, right? And let me go on. I'll go and Akshit Nafshay, I'll get myself together, I'll be Makashit myself. That's what he told us. So he bought a little time. What did he do? Solik v'kanafam. He went and he jumped off the roof. He was willing to kill himself as not to do this Aveira. Whether he's able to do that or not is questionable, but again, he was willing to do that. Us Eliyahu came along, Eliyahu and Kabli, and Eliyahu caught him before he hit the ground. Amalei, Eliyahu told him, Arba Meya Parsi, you troubled me to come from 400 Parsi to save you. Amalei, Migarim Li, what caused this to me that I ended up in this situation? Lavan Yusa. I was so poor, I had to go ahead and sell baskets involved with women. So that's why I couldn't avoid it. So Yovla Shaifa, the Dinri gave him what a Shaifa is an amount of the name of a Kli. Gave a Kli of Dinarim, Rav Eliyahu gave a Kli Dinarim to Rav Kahana in order that he should be saved from that. He wouldn't have to deal with women, right? He retired from being around women. Anyway, I saw Ben Yaya, the very geschmack. Like, why is it that a person who is a devara of a matter of sanus comes to his hands and he's able to overcome it? His wife for a nest to happen to him. He said that b'teva, people have a very strong teva for inyoni snus, inyoni arroyas, and therefore that's the nature of a person. So if a person overcomes that nature to go ahead and save himself from something that would be very natural to him, says Ben Yoda, Kadosh Baruch Hu will do something unnatural. He'll bring a nest to save him. And that would be very appropriate. Why dafka nest for dafka that avera? Since that is very much the nature of a man. So to overcome that nature, it takes great ability. And Memela Kadosh Baruch Hu will overcome nature and perform a nest for that individual. Says the Gemara Vaita. That's a Ben Yoda. Rami le Rav Rav Nachman. Tanan elu devarim sh'adam oichel oisan. A person eats these things. Oichel periseim b'alam hazeh. That Karen and the Karen takes over to the next world. Elu hein, what are they? Kivad of the aim of Gemis Chasadim, Vavos Shalom Yirod Chaveri. See, that's why I took out yesterday Achnas Zarchem. Remember, I told you yesterday, take out Achnas Zarchem because hey, we don't bring it down. The Talmud Torah can make it Kulam. The Kivad of the aim. Now, where do you see that all these have both mitzvahs, right? You're going to get this world and the next. It says by Kivad of aim L'man Yirichon Yemecha, which is speaking about Olam Haba, L'man Yitav Loch, which is speaking about Olam Hazeh. Begins Chasadim Ksiv Roidev Tzedakah v'Chesed Yimtza Chayim Olam Haba Tzedakah v'Kavod Olam Hazeh Ubava Shalom Ksiv Bakei Shalom Roid Feyu V'Amar Avo Aser Redifa Ksiv Chacha Bakei Shalom V'Roid Feyu the Sharish Reish Dalet Pei Hey Ksiv Hasam Roidev Tzedakah v'Chesed. It says by what? By Gemilas Chasadim Roidev Tzedakah v'Chesed. We already ascertained over there. It says Yimtza Chayim and Tzedakah v'Kavod. But Talmud Torah Ksiv Kihu chayecha bi'orach yamecha. So you have both chayecha olam hazeh, abba orach yamecha olam hazeh. B'shlucha, Fred Gemara b'shlucha keinami ksiv v'yitav loch v'arachta yamim. So why is shlucha kein not listed in this el dvarim shein lo oichel perizem b'lazeh that can't came olam haba? Says a ton of a shaya. We learned it and we left out. Fred Gemara Tanatani elu devarim vat amr ton of shayir. Usually the Gemara says you give a number, right? Once you give a number, obviously you're being exact. When it says elu devarim these, saying these, it's mashma, it's being exact. And therefore, how can you tell me ton of a shaya? It's mashma these and only these. So why didn't you not learn shluch hakein? So Amarava Rav Idi Asbrali Imri Tzadik Toiv praise the tzaddik. They teach praise the tzaddik. Ki toiv ki prima alehem yochelu. The fruits of their maisim, the fruits of their labor, they eat. In other words, they eat the fruits of labor. It says tzaddik ki toiv. Yesh tzaddik toiv. Yesh tzaddik ein toiv. Ela toiv l'shemayim lebriyos. So tzaddik toiv. Tzaddik toiv is his actions are good for shemayim, good for the briyos. So all these things, fellas, that were under discussion, the toiv l'shemayim, the toiv lebriyos. Go over them. Kivud avein. Gemilas chasadim. Hava shalom b'nul chaveiroi. Talmud Torah kineged kulam. So all of these are good for shemayim, good for the briyos. Toiv l'shemayim v'ra lebriyos. Zeh tzaddik she'ein toiv. So that's the shluch hakein, guys. Shluch hakein is toiv for the shemayim and after the briyos. Right? It's not good for the mother of the bird. You're sending the bird away. It's not such a good thing. So Mamela, that's not listed because it's not toiv l'shemayim ulu briyos. You're a tzaddik. You're doing a mitzvah, but it's not. You're not a tzaddik toiv. So now we have shot why shluch hakein was not listed. Just continuing and finishing off the inyan. Ki gomel yodav yasaloi. Yesh rasha ra, yesh sheina ra. El ra l'shemayim ra lebrias who rasha ra. Someone who's ra l'shemayim and ra lebrias. Let's say he's a murderer, he's a gosling, he's a ganiv. Ra l'shemayim ve'ena ra lebrias. Let's say what that he's involved in arayos or mayad, or he's involved in mayadim or eats chaylev. Then it's ra l'shemayim, but not to other people. So el ra l'shemayim ra lebrias who rasha ra. Ra l'shemayim ve'ena ra lebrias though rasha sheina ra. Hasachus. Yesh lekerem, yesh lepeiros. I just remember right now. My Rabbi once said, I heard from my Rabbi, beautiful pshat, because shtel sich for what the greatness of kivud of a. What when we say shoy the ochel peiros say in boilam hazeh v'akeren kemes loilam haba, right? So what is that? Peiros he taished as principle. He tries as interest. Keren is principle. So what's the interest of kivud of aim? It's a richas yomim. So can you imagine what the keren is? You can imagine what the interest, the principle is. If the interest, the byproduct is a richas yomim, can shtel sich for exactly what the keren is, and it's a good way to understand things. Like when you get an opportunity to do certain mitzvahs, and many times I think about my mother and says I don't want to go over late at night to go ahead and take care of her. Every night we take a turn at Taranut to help her get into bed and things. I always think of that. What an opportunity it is. No matter how tired I am, I try to work on it. Again, I'm sharing with you what I work on. Thank you for listening. And it says the Gemara weiter. So haschus yesh lem kerem yesh leperish. Shneimar imut tzaddik toiv. Right? Say to the tzaddik toiv why ki prima aleihem yachelu. Avera yesh lekeren vein leperis. And Avera you have the keren, you don't have peris. Shneimar oil rasha ra. Right? Ve'elamani mekayim vayachelu pri darcham. It says that they eat from pri darcham. They eat the fruits of their ways. Umimoatsehem yisuvoi, and they're zat. They're satiated with their plans. Mashma there are peris to an Avera. So Avera shows the peris yesh leperis. And Avera that has peris, right? Then what? Then the yesh leperis. But in this case, the peris are not good. V'sheina se peris ein leperis. Okay. So if it has peris, if an Avera that has peris that's constantly giving, then l'chayra that has peris, but not in a positive way. Rashi says Avera shows the peris going chil Hashem. Avera, what would be an Avera that what as peris is chil Hashem? Sh'adam choshev oiva Avera. You do something and people go ahead and learn from you what? To do the same thing. So that's an Avera has peris, because your Avera created the snowball effect that others will do as well. So therefore, you have to be careful. Machshava toiva mitztareves lamaisa. A machshava toiva is mitztaref to the maisa. In other words, if you have a good machshava and it's mitztaref to the maisa. Shenema oz nibru yeres Hashem ish el reyehu v'yakshev Hashem, and Hashem listened by Yishma v'yichtav sefer zichron lefanav yeres Hashem l'choisvei shemoi ma l'choisvei shemoi Amar Vasi afilu choshev adam lasos mitzvah v'nenas. Even if you think about doing a mitzvah and v'nenas v'loyasa ma l'chosav kilasa, Hashem considers it as if you did it. An example of a Kodesh Baruch Hu's hatava. Machshava ra ain't a Kodesh Baruch Hu mitzvah l'maisa, but machshava ra HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not be mitzvah to the Maisa. Shnemar, Ovin Imra Isi, Belibi, Leisham Hashem. He won't listen to it. Velamani Mekayim Hini, maybe Elo Amazeh, Rav, Pri Machshavaisam, Machshava Shaisa Peri, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzvah Lamaisa. Machshava Sheina above Pri, it doesn't have a Maisa in HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzvah Lamaisa. Velhodichsiv Laman Tfoises at Beis Hashem, Belibam. It says by Avodah Zarah that even HaKadosh Baruch Hu be toifus them for what was in their hearts. So you see that Machshava Ra is mitzdarif. Says the that's the after by Avodah Zarah. Damamar Chamura Avodas Kechavim Shekola Kaifa Ba Kim Moide B'Chol Torah Kula. Right? It's like anyone is Chumra Avodas Zarah. Anyone is Kaifa is like Moide B'Chol Torah Kula. Ula Amar Kid Rafuna Dam Rafuna Kimin Shava Adam Aveira V'Shanaba. Ula says the pasuk says Pri Machshavaisam. That's speaking about the Russia doing Averis, and we're saying that it makes machshav. It makes what? It makes when is the machshav mitzdarif, right? That makes more things. So we had one pshat. It's a chil Hashem, guys. A chil Hashem is an action that will cause others. What's an example one of a machshava that makes a pri? What is that? Says the Gemara. This is Ula Kid Rav Huna. Dama Rav Huna Kimin Shava Adam Aveira V'Shonaba. Since a person does an Aveira and repeats it. Hutruloi, it becomes mutter to him. It's not mutter. It says, it becomes like heta. So once the aver is becoming like heta, your machshava to do it is not an ikov, and therefore it will be considered as if you did. Better for a person to do aver b'seiser. If you have to sin, do it privately and don't do it openly. Shnemar, V'ata Beis Yisrael Koram Hashem Ish Gilulov L'chu Avdu V'acher Im Ein Chashoyim Melai V'Shem Kachi Lo Yisachalu. Good do. No, don't make a chil Hashem by doing it very publicly. Okay. Amr Abaloi Hazokein Im Roy Adam Sheyitzroi Miskabra Love. You see a person that the Yitzra is Miskabra Love. Yelech L'Makam Shein Makirin. I say, go to a place we don't recognize him. The Yilbish Shechayrim, and he should dress up in black. He cover himself in black. He asks to let him do whatever he wants. Okay, says the Gemara. Ini is really so. But Tanya Kol Shaloi Chasal Kavod Koinoi. Anyone who does not have Rachmanis on the covet of Hashem, better not come to the world. So how can he go ahead and do an affair privately? Mahi Ramama Zeh Mistakal B'Keshes. That's a person who looks at a rainbow. So you see that being over says is better not being born. So where's the heter over here? Like kasha hoda matzikai for the yitzri, hodle matzikai for the yitzri. Depends if he was able to go ahead on and overcome his Yetzirah or not. If you can't overcome his Yetzirah, better go do it privately. And if you could overcome Yetzirah, then you are better not born. I'm going to get back to this, guys. I'm going through a fist. We're going to get back to this in a second. Nan Hasan, Eima Kifim B'Chil Hashem. Kodesh Baruch Hu does not take credit on Chil Hashem. What does it mean he doesn't take credit? What does Chenvani do? You go to the Chenvani and you build up a bill, you have credit, you have amonok, right? And then finally you got to pay the price. You're going to pay the price. There's no building up. You're going to pay the price right away. If Chil Hashem, fellas, remember our scale? If Chil Hashem is part of it, like as opposed to the positive, keep it up and the other ones which are going to be machriya, Chil Hashem is going to be machriya, but unfortunately in the other direction. So what does it mean over here? A person should go ahead and do an avera. Really, is this a heter to go ahead and do an avera because you have a Yetzirah? So let's see Taisvis, and we'll see a rush that I copied from Masechta Moed Katan. Says Taisvis, V'yasu mashali b'chafetz, Pirush Rabbeinu Chananel, Chas v'shalom, Shehut Eloi lavor d'avera. Chas v'shalom, that it's mutter for you to do an avera. Elakachama Rabeloi Yegias Derachim Ba'achsenois, going on the way and staying in an inn, B'levish Hashchayrim, and wearing black, Mishavim Yetzirah Umeinin Odam Min Avera. When Rabbi was saying if a person has a type for Avera, what should he do? So we learned, let him go ahead, disguise himself, go in a faraway place where no one will recognize him, and as a result of doing all these actions, he'll be able to do an Avera B'Seiser. Says the Rach, that's not Pshat. Pshat is, if you have a Yetzer Hara doing Aveira, if you travel a long distance and you got to go to an inn and you're going to wear Shechayrim, by that time it's going to go ahead and destroy your Yetzer Hara. That's the way the Rach looks. But Chas v'Shalom to say that you could do an Aveira and in this world. It's not a Hefker world. You can't do an Aveiris. Okay, so this is a rush, guys, from the third parak. The third parak in Masechta Ma'id Katan, it's Siman Yud Aleph. Siman Yud Aleph. And now he brings it, I'll follow along from the top line. David Kramaloi, the time, maybe I can make it bigger. Okay, so now, David Kramaloi, Tanya, the Beloi Hazaki Naimer, Imra Adam, if you see a person, Sheyitzu Miskarbalav Pirish, he wants to drink the mine zemer, meaning he wants to go drink. I think it means he wants to drink like we're in the Saita, he wants to drink in the bars. Where we said he stayed the music in the bars, right? He wants to drink the mine zemer, ulismayach, and to be happy when the simchas hamargilin de aveira, with activity of simcha that's going to bring him to aveira. Kigoyin zeh. In this case, so go to a place we don't recognize you. Go eat and drink. It's right, that are asa is oilam, right? Chas v'shalom shehit the Rabbi. So says the Rosh, when it's speaking about a person as a taiva for an aveira, it means aveiras that could lead to other aveiras, such as drinking in a bar or going ahead and doing being happy with levity. But I feel it b'seiser, even privately. So this is the way he learns. And the bottom line is, let's go to the end of it. He says then. And he says over here, the lesser Rabbi Loi, we don't pass him like Rabbi Loi. Elovat, Afa Pishem Isgarba, Yitzre Shaladim Alav, even a person has Yetzer Hara, the Boile, Lasuva Yitzre, he has to go ahead and fight his Yetzer Hara, the Kaimalon, Hakol B'dei Shemayim, Chutz Me Yeresh Shemayim. So therefore, I didn't want to be walking away with this Gemara thinking that no, that's not the case. You see from the Rach, you see from the Rosh that's not the case. Okay, the case is the ways to go ahead and fight the Yetzer Hara, but Einachinami, not to do an Aveira. Says the Gemara by Tan Rabbanan Amid Beis. La'olam yira adam atzmai ki lechetziv chayev v'chetziv zakoi. A person should always view himself as 50-50. Asa mitzvah achas, if he's going to do one more mitzvah, ashroi, it'll be happy for him. Shehechriya atzmai l'kaf schus, because it's going to bring him the scale to this other side of schus. Of Aveira Achas, conversely, if he's Chas v'Shalom, he's over in Aveira, Oiloi, Shechrias Atzmei l'Kav Chayva, it's going to bring him to Kav Chayva. Shenemar, L'choyta Echad Ya'abed Tuva Harbe. So one chait can go ahead and cause you to go ahead and lose many Taiva, because it'll put you on the side of injustice. B'shvil chait Yechidi Shechata, Oiv Yimenu Taivas Harbe. Rabbi Elazar of Shimon Oimer, Fisha Oilam Nidon Acharubai. The world is judged after the majority, and the Yachid is judged after his wife. In other words, Hashem will look at the world as a tzibur and judge the majority of the tzibur. Each individual goes after his tzibur, goes after the roiv. So Mamela, Asa mitzvah achas, Ashroi, Shechrias atzmei v'eskol olam kapskos. If you view yourself as part of the roiv, and roiv is, don't view yourself as independently of a majority of the world. But if you view yourself as part of Klal Yisrael, and my action could go ahead and make Klal Yisrael on the side of Toiv, so if you view yourself that way, that creates a seriousness in you that it's not a hefgevelt. You got to do the right thing. One Avera could go ahead and put you on the other side. Shnemar, the Chayta Echad, we saw the right, Yabe Tuva Harbe. So Rebbe Lazar adds what? The Rebbe Lazar Shimon adds the component of what of you as part of its tzibur, not just yourself. I feel it tzaddik gomer kol yamav. Even a person that's tzaddik gomer all his days, who morid b'achrein and rebels in the end, he loses what? He loses all his mitzvahs. He loses all his mitzvahs. Shneimar tzidkas at tzaddik lois atzilenu b'yom pishay. I feel it Rosh Hashanah kol yamav. V'asa tshuva b'achreina. It's amazing that this is coming out right now. It's incredible, right? I feel it Rosh Hashanah kol yamav. For us, at Tshuva B'Achreina, Ein Maskir and Leishuv Rishon. They're not going to mention it. Adarabba, but as we're going to see, they become Schusim. Shneimar for Rishus HaRasha LeYikoshel Ba B'Yom Shuvu MiRishay, and the Rishus HaRasha will not be there for him to stumble over in the day he returns. When Havi Kemechza Avonis Kemechza Zchu Yosav, Fred the Gemara Kasha, Fred the Gemara, why does he lose everything? Just because he does one Aveira, why does he lose everything? So good, he's not on the side of good. But everything good he did, he's losing? Why is that? And for the Gemara, no, Amr Shlakish, we're speaking about B'toya al Rishainos, a person who's going to go ahead and regret what he did. It's not only did an Aveira, but he regretted all the mitzvahs that he did. He regretted all the mitzvahs that he did. So I found this unbelievable maimah from Rabbi Chanan. We know Rabbi Chanan, at the age of 30, became a Talmud of Chavetz Chaim. He became a Talmud of Chavetz Chaim. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, so he asked the Chavetz Chaim, what's the mila of tshuva? What's tshuva? It's going to go ahead and elevate you. He says, even the opposite. If a person is toya al rishonis, he loses all his mitzvahs. In other words, the mila of tshuva is that what you gain. In other words, you do tshuva, you gain. You do averis, you lose everything. So it seems to be tit for tat. So the Chavetz Chaim said, no, the chiddush of tshuva is that the chiddush of tshuva, if you do tshuva me'ava, all your averis then becomes mitzvahs. The mile of tshuva there's nothing like it. The mile of tshuva. In other words, this person's toyal b'shynus. Right? He's toyal b'shynus, and therefore, so what is he gaining? He loses everything. So tshuva, what is tshuva? You do tshuva. If you do tshuva, it's not only that it's not only tshuva that not only the averis that you had become mitzvahs. It's unbelievable. I saw a chiddush nifla in the Minchas Chinuch. He said an unbelievable chiddush. If you look in the Rambam goes through a whole cheshbon. If you do averis, that you have to, if it's a lav, then Yom Kippur itself will be mischaper, the day of Yom Kippur itself. And if it's certain other averis, the same mishtaleach. And then if you kill somebody, you'll have to go ahead. You'll do tshuva, but it'll be toila until you surim, and some averis you need death. So there's other things that other cheshboin is just you do any aver, you do tshuva. Nivuzradon, I guarantee you, his tshuva, he still killed millions of people. Like I always worry about him. I wonder about him. Again, there's a cheshbon. Says the Minchas Chinuch something peladik. That's only if you do aver tshuva from a yira. Because if you do tshuva me'ava, then all your averis become schusim. And memela, there is nothing to go ahead and be punished for. You hear Minchas Chinuch, guys? It's unbelievable he's saying. He's saying that the Rambam brings down, that tshuva is toila and Yom Kippur is mechaper, or tshuva is toila and Yisurim are mechaper, or tshuva is toila in Yisurim and Yom HaMisa is mechaper, says the Minchas Chinuch is only speaking if you do tshuva me'yira. But if you do tshuva me'ava, then all those things become what? Schusim. Maybe you to go ahead, guys, to do tshuva me'ava. It's interesting. As you get older, these things make a little more sense. As you get older, I was thinking, I'm speaking today in school, I'm supposed to give the tshuva drasha. When you're a kid, basically, I'm not about you, I'm speaking for myself. Well, if you're a good boy, you're rewarded, and if you're not a good boy, you got to get him. That's basically chinuch. It's either going to be cool or hot, and that was it. And if you don't learn anything, that you raise your whole life. Here I am, it's Yom Kippur, I'm fasting, I don't want to go Gehenim. What is it? If you learn a little bit and you realize that Hashem loves you more than you love yourself, that Hashem loves you more than your parents, more than your siblings, more than your wife, if a person loves you, they want you to come back. They want you to go ahead and have that relationship. and they don't want to punish. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu does so many things in His power not to punish us. We learn how many things we learned over the years. Anyone who's over and goes over on his midas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mavra, and says, you're over on your midas, I'll be over on my midah, I won't punish you. You know, there's so many things that person comes home Shabbos, he has two malachim, he's Makabel Shabbos, the table set, says, all the Averis are forgiven. Along the way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does so many things in His love for us to be forgiven. And therefore, if you view Yom Kippur with the correct machshava, so it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Forget the opportunity to do tshuva. There's a mitzvah to do vidui. It's a mitzvah. Hashem gives you a mitzvah for going ahead and returning to Him. Like it's not enough for allowing us to return to Him. It's not enough. We get a mitzvah for it. I was thinking even better. The biggest mitzvah is the mitzvah you do lishma. There's not one person on this Zoom would want to fast on Yom Kippur. Trust me. I had a Danish and a coffee. It would be a lot easier the rest of the day. So what does Hashem do? He gives you a mitzvah to fast. It's one of the inuyim. And certainly it's a mitzvah you don't want to do. So Kadosh Baruch Hu gives you a mitzvah lishma. That's how you begin the year. You begin the year with a mitzvah lishma. Totally lishma. It's gewaldig. That's a little different than, okay, Gehenim, hot, finished. Right? So therefore, tshuva me'ava from a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doable. It's possible. If you put this in your mind, if you go ahead and think about these things, I think it's a wonderful way to approach the Yom Kippur. Okay, let's finish up. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah, Kol sheyeshnai b'mikra u'b'mishnah u'b'derech eretz. Three things. You learn mikra is Torah shebechsav, Mishnah is Torah shebal peh, derech eretz. You treat people in the way that they deserve to be treated, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu treats us. He's not going to go ahead and do Averis quickly. Shnemar, the chut hamashulish, and the rope that is triplicated, will not go ahead wide and quickly be unraveled. Even if you're missing one of these fellows, not all three, even if you're missing one of these, he's not from this world. He doesn't belong in this world. He doesn't belong among people. Rabbi Tzaddik. Lamet tzaddikim msholam b'olam hazeh le'ilan shekulan oimei b'makom taira. To an ilan that's standing b'makom taira, v'noif v'noite l'makom tuma. So the main thing is the tree, and you have a branch going off the tree, and the branch is a little accessory to the tree, and it's a little bit is going to the makom tuma. The mashal is that the tzaddik is rooted in taira with all his mitzvahs, and there's a little bit of Aveira is symbolized by the branch that's in the Makom Tumah. Niktsas Naifai, cut off that branch, cut off that Tumah, cut off the sin. Kuliyami Makom Taira. Kacha Kadosh Baruch Hu, maybe Yisurim al Tzadikim Ba'olam Hazeh. Kadosh Baruch Hu cuts off the branch Kavayachol by giving Yisurim in this world. Kadesh Yishu Olam Haba, in order to be Yarish Halam Haba. Shnemar, V'hoya Reishischa Mitzar, your beginning will be small. V'achrischa Yiskem Oid, and your end will be Yiska Moed, it'll be very great. The mamish immersed in Makom Tumah in Averis. But a little mitzvah they have. Niktsas knife kuloi. If you cut off a little bit of that knife, I'm in Makom Tumah, they remain in a den of iniquity. Kacha Kodesh Baruch Hu. Mashpia lem toivel v'shoy b'alam hazeh. He's mashpia toivel to that little knife that's in the Makom Taira. Kedei l'tardon l'shir l'medregas ha'tachtoniya shnemar yesh derech yoshev l'feish. Their peers things are good. V'achrisay derech maves. Just share with you guys. There's an Ar Yisrael. My son Simcha shared with me about the tshuva and my kabbalas and different things. And he said something fascinating. He said, and there's two mices. I'll tell you that Hashem is not going to punish you for the Averis that you found very difficult to overcome. He's not even going to punish you for the Averis that were easy for you to overcome. He's going to punish you for trying to simply go ahead and deal with part of that Avera that was overcome. In other words, you can go ahead and make your Avera something very, very small. Limashal, a person came to Rabbi Migdaz at Zatzal and said, Rabbi Miller, I'm sure in Torah mitzvahs except one thing. I can't stop smoking on Shabbos. I can't stop smoking on Shabbos. Rabbi Miller asked him, how much do you smoke on Shabbos? He said, I smoke a pack. I smoke 20 cigarettes every Shabbos. So he told him, so smoke 19. You'll be about shuv on that one cigarette. Person, Bal Tshuva, I can't stop smoking on Shabbos. I can't stop. Rav Chaim asked him, can you not put it out? He said, yeah, I don't have to put it out. He goes, so don't put it out. That's what Rabbi Yisrael is saying. That's what Rabbi Yisrael is saying. Even on a Kabbalah, you take something, you're about tshuva on that thing that you do. That's it. That's a Kabbalah. I'll never speak Lashon Hara. Baloney, you never speak Lashon Hara. I won't speak Lashon Hara from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Great, you're at Tzaddik Yisrael Olam, right? You're sleeping. I mean, I won't speak Lashon Hara. You know what? I'll speak Lashon Hara, but I won't speak about this particular individual that I always speak about. That's a Kabbalah. I'm going to speak Lashon Hara, but there's one guy I'm not going to speak about. You know, he gets under my skin and we know who he is, you know. Even saying we know who he is, I won't say. This is a Kabbalah. This is something to share with your children and yourselves. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. Just like Rosh Hashanah, we had the game changer, but you're supposed to daven for Rosh Hashanah. This is a game changer in Tshuva. Instead of going through the rigmarole of every single year, I can't change, take that one thing, the thing that you do, and you know you do it often, and go ahead and fine tune it to not do it in such a way. And on that piece, you'll be about Tshuva. Says the Gemara Vaita. Ukvar hoyer Reb Tarfim Zekenim Mesubim Balias Beis Nitze Belud. They were in Beis Nitze, the name of a person in Lud. Nishla Sheila Zubifneim Talmud Gadol or Maisa Gadol. Then Reb Tarfim Vama Maisa Gadol. Then Rabbi Kiva Talmud Gadol. Then a Kulam Bamu Talmud Gadol. She Talmud maybe the Maisa. You'll do both. By learning, you'll come to action. Tanya Rabbi Yossi Gadol Talmud Shekodim Lechala Arboim Shana. Right? The Matan Torah was given what 40 years before we went into Eretz Yisrael. Chala we said was noyeg immediately because it says Bayachem. It doesn't say Kisavau Kiyavo. It says Bayachem, and therefore you'll be noyeg right away. The Trumas Ulamaisus Chamisha Va'arbayim. That's 54. Why? 40 when we get in there. The 14 years of Kibush V'chiluk, 14 years of capturing the land and dividing the land. 14 plus 40 is 54. So Torah came 54 years before Trumas L'Maisis. The Shemitah Shishim V'achas, 7 years after the 54, right, was settled. 14 years, and then 7 years after that will give us a total of Shishim V'achas 61. L'Yoivlois Meya Ushalish. In Yoivlois, you're going to get a cheshbon of what? Of 104, because you have 40 plus the 14 is 54, and another 50 years from 54 is 104. Says the Gemara. Meya v'shalish 103. Meya v'shalish Meya v'arbayin have. It should be 104, not 103. Says the Gemara. Kasava Yovel mitchilas lehu mishamit. Yovel is not mishamit at the end. It's mishamit what at the beginning. Says Rashi. Mitchilas mishamit. Techilas hashana miyam kippah. Avod at the beginning of the shana of Yom Kippur. That Yom Kippur is in Yovel, guys. That's when Yovel goes into effect. Not Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur. Avod in niftarim. Avodim, if they're nirtza, they go free. The sodas chayzus and steachusa that had been sold returns to its owner, right? But dayin liyavru elam mem test, and only 49 years passed. So 49 and 54 is 103. Al shviyas ein mishamet el b'sleifa. The tziv miketz sev hashanim l'shleif shev hashanim kol shana shviyas b'minyan samachal. Very geschmack, right? And then now says the Gemara Vaita. Just like the limit is before the action, so too what is the maisa, the schar for the maisa, kachtina koydel lemaisa, kidurav hamnuna, right? Kshem shalimit koydel lemaisa, kachtina koydel lemaisa, kidurav hamnuna. Dom rav hamnuna, ain't chilas dina shalodam el al divrei Torah. The first thing they're going to ask a person in Shemayim is regarding divrei Torah shnemar, toiter mayim. He releasing of water, ein mayim el Torah. Reishis madain is the beginning of judgment. So if you look at Tosfos, guys, ain't chilas dina shalodam ella al divrei Torah. I v'hadam perek b'am madlikin kishemachnisin adam ledin. When they come to din, oimim loy nasata v'nasata be'emuna. Did you do business me'emuna? So how can you tell me the Techilas din is on whether you kaveh in the Torah? It's mashma they're going to speak that you go ahead and do business honestly. And that's regarding, they're going to ask him, did you do it be'emunah? He's going to go ahead and be punished for a swat for not being Isaac be Torah. So that's the Chilas Dino is what is on Torah. Says Rashi, says the Rabbi. So Shnemar, Vayitel Lehem Artzas Goyim, Va'amal Le'umim Yirashu, Va'avor Yishmeru. Yishmeru is refers to Ein Mishnah Ela Yishmeru Shomer Torah. Chukav is Maisen. The Torah Yin Soiru. So in other words, you're gonna be rewarded for your schar for Torah before you're rewarded for your schar for your actions, guys. You're gonna be rewarded for the schar of your Torah before you're rewarded for the schar of your actions. Kol Shein Elei B'Mikra of Mishnah Amar Rabbi Yochanan Paslei. This person who goes ahead, he's not part of the Yishuv because he's not Isaac in any one of these three things. All three of these things, learning Gemara, Peh, and Derech Eretz. He's Paslei. This Torah Rabbanan Ha'Ichel B'Shuk Harized Doimel Lekelev. V'Yeshayim Paslei. This you eat in the street. You Paslei. This is Rashi. The Kimun Sheinim in a Yishuv. Since this person is not part of the Yishuv, as we said in the Mishnah, because he's not Isaac the Mishnah, the Mikra Mishnah or Derech Eretz. Ein Makbid Alatzma. He's not Makbid. Ve'ein loy boishes panim. V'chein ha'oichel b'shuk. Hoyel ve'ein makbid al k'foidoi. Ein ha'boish l'zalzel be'atzma l'fzal. In other words, a person has to have a sense of self. A person has to have a certain covet to themselves. If they don't have a covet to themselves, they're postulated because they wouldn't have covet in somebody else. The Lashon the Rambam and Perik Yud Aleph from Hilchos Eidus, Halacha Aleph. Mishein aloy b'mikra aloy b'mishnah aloy b'derech eretz. Harizeh b'cheskas Rasha. He says you're in the chazaka of being a Rasha. He not only says you're not from the Yishuv. He says you're in the chazaka of being a Rasha. Upasol eidus midevrayim, upasol midrabanan. Shekol mi sheyorid ad kach chazaka shu over al roiva avera sheyavoy liyadai. You can be assured of a person not Isaac in Torah. He's not Isaac in learning in Torah Shabbat Peh, and not in Derech Eretz treating people. You guarantee that what he's over averis, he's a Rasha. That's the way the Rambam learns. Lashon Zav Shel Rambam. Tanrabanan. Okay, we just did that. Amravidi Barav and Halacha ki yesh oimim. The Halacha is like the yesh oimim that is pasal edus. Darish Bakapara. He Bakapara had the following Rasha. Ragzon, person who gets angry all the time. A person gets angry all the time. Like also biyodai ela ragzanusai. In other words, his flesh is going to go ahead and wither away in his ragzonis. So he'll be left with nothing. She'ein lo shum schar. You don't get any schar for getting angry. You should go ahead and make a neder. Dor hana mimeir. The person is not Isaac in one of these three things, or even all of these three things. You should make a neder, not have anything to do with him. Shnemar u'v'moshev leitzim lo yeshu. This guy is guaranteed to be a letz, based on the Rambam, will even be a Rasha. So go ahead and stay away from this guy. Hajar lecha ish niknis. Hajar lecha ish niknis. Hajar lecha ish nigdis. 40 blot in. This is a Zaftik Perek in Shas, one of the most famous parakim in Shas. Bez Hashem Motzei Shabbos. We will begin what? We will begin the second Perek, very famous Perek, Ish Mekadesh. I thank everyone for listening. And
I think we passed the halfway mark at Shas. Just now, I think yesterday was the halfway mark.
I thought it was the day when we did half the Pesukim and half that daf. But I could be wrong, you know.
The expression is missed by this much.
Okay. Okay, have a wonderful Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, Esh.
Harold,
Shabbos.